What's up guys, Bonnie here with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we're talking about the Fusion again. I finally updated my personal plan going forward. I've kind of decided which events or tournaments I am going to skip, and I want to share that with you guys because I think it's going to help you save some energy, right? There's some milestones that are obviously harder to obtain, so if we plan around those or try to eliminate those, then it should make it a little bit easier for us, or at least easier on the resources. Obviously it depends on your other resources, right? But at least it's going to give you a working model for that. So all that said, let's check it out right now. Quick update on today's and tonight's stream. So yesterday I streamed during the day for New World. I plan on doing the same thing today. So if you guys want to show up, build your loyalty points, then great. But for tonight at 7:30 Eastern time, we'll be doing some raid stuff. Most likely a shard opening session. I will be doing some of my own. So if you guys have any shards you want to let me open, then great, reach out on Discord. But later on, we'll be switching back to New World. All right. So at least at 7:30 Eastern time tonight for some raid stuff, or a little bit later today. I hope to see you guys there. So Fusion day number 5, where are we at with all this? Hopefully you guys are still on track. So far it's been relatively easy. We haven't had any major overlaps of events and tournaments that make it really hard, or that we have to spend some extra resources, right? So we got the classic arena takedown with the milestone at a value we've seen many times before. We do have a tag arena tournament, which to be honest I'm not even going to focus on whatsoever. Champion training tournament, I did end up maybe pushing a little bit faster here. It does show that I'm in second place. I don't plan on finishing in first or second place. If it does happen, then great, but I don't factor this in the plan. All right, I just decided to work on other champions for content. All right, so I'm not going to say, you know, that you need to do this. As for the events, well, Summon Rush, this is obviously what we're going to focus on, and we have a relatively nice surprise here, I guess. Plarium, where the first milestone is lower, but the second and the third one are still much higher than what they used to be. It's a good and a bad thing, right? If you're going to push all the way up here, then you're not too far off from, let's say, a legendary tome. So I personally will be pushing a little bit in here. Okay, so the 10x event has some useful champion, which we've covered yesterday for Bommel. Therefore, if you do want to push for this to help you progress in the hard Doom Tower, you might want to do that. All right, but overall, again, pretty much on track here. I still have some saved up energy, so like I'm doing good, right? I think, again, if you've hoarded for this, then you will be ready. Then on top of that, we got the clan versus clan tournament rewards, so I have even more resources. So again, at this point, very easy if you are end game. As for the plan, it's been updated with the latest value. So here is what I plan on skipping with the values in red. And yes, I want to try and skip the champion training event almost entirely. Why? Because one, we've just had the champion training tournament with the values which were fairly low. This leads me to believe that it's going to be perhaps harder for the champion training event. But even if it's easier, I've never seen values for, let's say, the last milestone to be close to 4,200 points, right? And so if you've already spent all your saved up food for the champion training tournament, and if you're going to open sacred shards for your summon rush, I'm going to predict that you're not going to have a whole lot of food for the champion training event. Therefore, I'm going to try and factor skipping this. So here are some examples of the champion training event. This was Mother Sibel. We've seen an epic as high as 12,000 points, but obviously we're doing fragments here, so it might not exactly be like this. But even the first rare champion was about 4,350. So like we had a champion training tournament at 4,200, which was lower than this, right? So if we look at also some previous champion training events in terms of fragment events, we had 3,500, which is still higher than the first milestone of the champion training tournament we just saw, and the second one was 7,150. Even though it's for 10 fragments, I can end up skipping this because I'm going to focus a little bit more on the summon rush, right? And here's an example with 3 milestones, so 555, we might get that. This was a rule. We have 2,150 and 4,350, which is in line with the champion training tournament. But again, because we spent most of our saved up food right now, and because we're opening sacred shards, at least that's what I'm doing for the summon rush, I'm not gonna have a whole lot of food for this, right? On top of that, the champion chase tournament is towards the end of the champion training event. And I plan on doing an epic fusion and a legendary fusion to get to probably the first milestone, give or take, and then do a few void shards, but only 15 void shards with probably, what, 7 sacreds. I might do a couple more sacreds. I'm not going to have a ton of food to reach the last milestone in here, all right? So instead, here's what the breakdown is going to look like for me. I'm going to do the summon rush. I will push to 3,500 because it's only 7 sacreds and I got plenty. Then we're going to do both artifact enhancement events. I always do those. Dungeon divers, the first one, the second one, but we're also going to try and skip the last milestone of the third dungeon divers event. Then we're going to do champion chase, classic arenas, fire knight, ice golem, dragon, spider, champion training. Both of them already done. That gives us 100 fragments right there. So I think that by skipping the harder milestones here and here, we're going to save some energy. Or at least I'm going to save some energy. You guys are more than welcome to give this a shot as well. However, I do have another option here that I can play around with. If I do end up getting a decent amount of food or champions I really want to build right away, I could skip the ice golem and instead do the first milestone of the champion training event. It's still going to give me 100 fragments, and I still think it's going to be roughly the same amount of energy. All right, so what we're trying to eliminate here is this value right here. So instead, we're probably going to be closer to maybe 5,000 energy for the champion training event. And for the last milestone of the dungeon divers, we're going to try and shave off a 2,000 energy there as well. Don't forget that the energy you spend in here is kind of already spent into those events at the same time, right? And the last thing I'll point out, and the reason why I want to do this, is because look at how it's lining up for the champion training event and 2 of the tournaments, right? Whereas here, we've had somewhat of a break in terms of tournaments for us to focus on the champion training and not have any of the dungeon events or tournaments ongoing at the same time. Whereas for the event, you're going to overlap with your Fire Knight and the Ice Golem. So here you almost need to pick one of the two because it's really hard, or this is where you spend all your saved up energy. All right, so I know I have a lot left. You can spend some gems at this point, that works, but overall I think the champion training event is harder in this fusion event. Therefore, that's the one I'm going to try and skip, but also because of what I just mentioned, I'm opening less shards, right? I'm not opening a ton of ancient shards. I can open some mystery shards here if I wanted to, if I really need some food, but overall that is my strategy going forward to try and save some energy. Hopefully you guys are able to do something similar. Do let me know what you think in the comment section below though, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video.